Good morning, happy Monday. Hey now, PSW staff, clients, friends, join us for Film Scoring Monday when we look at a scene, iconic scene. Last week we did Amadeus. You guys did a great job picking a piece of music by Mozart, and we got to see the results on Friday. And this week we're going to get right back to work. Hope you guys had a good and restful weekend. This is a fun movie. Not the best movie in the world, but a very cool scene at the end. Iconic scene of a big sign in Los Angeles. And if you're thinking the Hollywood sign, you're thinking correctly, because it's gonna be a very exciting scene to score. So today we're gonna look at the 1954 American film Down Three Dark Streets. It's a film noir. We've looked at film noir. We've looked at that term, and we also scored Miller's Crossing, which is kind of a new film noir, because that was 1990. Film noir goes back to the 40s and 50s, the Hollywood movies that were in the 40s and 50s, usually kind of low budget, black and white, femme fatale, detective. There's certain, and it was coined by a French critic in 1946, and it's like a crime, drama usually, and very dark and bleak and cynical situations, and it's classic. It's a lot of fun, and they shot a lot of cool LA film noirs in the 40s and 50s, and kind of low key. All that kind of stuff comes from German Expressionism, which we didn't look at F.W. Murnau's Sunrise, but that's one of the prime examples of German Expressionism. So Hollywood movies were influenced by German filmmakers in the 30s. So in the 40s, they started doing these darker pictures, detectives and all that stuff. And this is an FBI. These are FBI guys. It's about an FBI agent, and he takes on three different unrelated cases. So that's the Three Dark Streets, and trying to hunt down a killer because his partner died. So he's taking his partner's cases, he's reopening them and seeing, not seeing if he can solve his dead partner's cases. So this is directed by Arnold Lavin and starring Broderick Crawford. Broderick Crawford is kind of a tough guy in a lot of movies, and a lot of B movies, which means kind of low budget movies. But tough guy roles, and then this is based on a novel, Case File, FBI. J. Edgar Hoover was not happy with this. He controlled the United States, mostly the world. He wasn't happy with this movie because he thought perhaps this was a way for criminals to get ideas of how they could actually do real crimes in real life. So he didn't like that because maybe they were giving away some secrets. It's interesting to think about the 50s in Los Angeles was really changing, mostly because of William H. Parker. We've talked a little bit about Bill Parker. He was the chief of police from 1950 to 1966. And what he wanted to do was, LA was so corrupt in the 30s, 40s, like we've looked at Mayor Frank Shaw with Clifford Clinton, just very shady underworld. Parker came in and wanted to clean it up, and he was incorruptible. That was his thing. A lot of people didn't like him, but he worked his way up from just a small time parking person up into the chief that couldn't be bribed, because LA was so corrupt. I mean, as were other cities, but just we've looked at the mob in Los Angeles and stuff. So Bill Parker comes in 1950. This movie's in 1954. 1951, an important thing happens with Dragnet. Jack Webb starts this radio show, creates this character, Joe Friday, and it becomes super successful on the radio and then into television. And, it was just an enterprise. And Bill Parker it was a good way for the department, the police department, to advertise their new kind of way of taking on crime, getting police officers and showing that the police, were in charge, not mobsters in the underworld. And some of that was true. Bill Parker did a lot of great things. Kind of Bill Parker and Mickey Cohen were at odds, because Cohen was the big LA mobster who was, the leader of the, he was an LA celebrity, just like, Humphrey Bogart was. People knew Mickey Cohen, and Bill Parker, they had a big rivalry. So I just kind of wanted to talk about police in the 1950s. And so this movie in 1954 is something that was probably, maybe a little bit like propaganda, because it was advertising some, good police work. Although these guys are federal agents, it's still all under the realm of, policing and stuff. So Arnold Lavin did a lot of TV stuff, but was a producer. Probably the biggest thing was The Rifleman, which is, John and I like that. Chuck Connors, he produced that. And music's by Paul Sawtelle. We'll look at him. He did a lot of movies too in Hollywood. Why don't we go and take our map to the Hollywood sign? Because I know this isn't an LA class, but this is an LA movie for sure. And 1954, what's going on? The biggest thing probably politically going on, Supreme Court rules Brown versus Board of Education, where segregation in public schools is unconstitutional. So that's good. It's still completely racist in the 50s, but at least the Supreme Court's saying, you can't do that, actually. So politically, 1954, that's what's going on. Of course, that affects all, the economy, everything like that. What movies do we have? This is a gritty film noir, but we also have maybe the most famous Christmas movie, White Christmas, comes out this year. The Glenn Miller Story comes out this year. On the Waterfront, this is the end of McCarthyism. Joseph McCarthy is done, and then On the Waterfront comes out with Elia Kazan. So all those kind of things. And then music-wise, we don't have the Beatles. We don't even have Elvis yet. These are the singer days. This is Doris Day, Frank and Dean. These are the crooner singers. This is popular music here. Chuck Berry's not yet. We're not here with rock and roll. So I just wanted to kind of give you a little glimpse of, we're just a microscope of what's going on right now in the world in this thing. So Paul Sawtelle is a composer. He's Polish, film composer, and did a bunch of, RKO Pictures, Universal Pictures, and a lot of Western and horror movies. This scene, the music in this scene isn't particularly, it's fine, but the visual scene is so cool because the ending all takes place, at the Hollywood sign. Let's just kind of, I'm going to back it up and look how cool this is in 1954.
The green Chevy Coupe passed by here, a young lady driving it?
Yeah. Matter of fact, she stopped here for a bit.
Where'd you go?
See that sign?
Thanks. Let's go.
So the character Kate is said to bring money to and meet at the Hollywood sign, underneath the Hollywood sign. So she's supposed to bring the money, and she finds out that this guy actually he was a romantic interest in the movie, he betrays her, and he's the guy that kind of is the creepy guy that comes out in front because she drops all the money. That's the real Hollywood sign, though. Of course, you can't even go up there. You can't get near there. But I just thought it was really cool to film on that steep hill. So, and the music's very effective. It's just not a super memorable theme, but perhaps it wasn't meant to be. These kind of film noir, they didn't have big, epic, lush scores, melodic scores. That wasn't the point of these kind of gritty films. So let's take a look at the scene just with just no music and see what you think. So definitely suspenseful, right? So we're going to need a suspenseful score, somewhat, let's make it where it's maybe kind of an older soundtrack score, where it's not kind of beats or kind of, Hans Zimmer, nothing like that, nothing kind of newer. Let's see if we can get an old sounding score that's semi-suspenseful. Not Psycho, that's just too recognizable, but something... we did something very exciting, because this is such a cool scene that they're right under the Hollywood sign. Very few, I can't really think of any other movies where it actually is the real Hollywood sign. And so I thought that Down Three Dark Streets was kind of a cool visual thing for our LA classes, but also for our film scoring class. So let's come up with a score that's going to be exciting, because she could fall and die. She falls and the money goes everywhere. It's a very, very exciting, suspenseful scene. This is obviously at the very end, very last scene of the movie. She makes it, of course, so no worries about that. Okay, so see what you got. Get it to me by tomorrow. Have fun with this, and if you're new, please play along, and please, I'm always available to talk about these things. So love you guys. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.